Hello, so I am mildly Gothic, and we're doing another crafty thing. I feel like I just need to call this chaotic crafts, because that's what it feels like. But, so today what we're doing is something else with fake flowers. I did not expect fake flowers to feature so prominently twice, so early in, this channel, but it is what it is. So what we're doing today is, about last November, I made this garland. And it's black, it's got these, as there's pieces falling off of it, this blue and sparkly stuff, but if you can't tell, it's broken on one side. I moved apartments back in April, and so I'm thinking something happened, I packed it funny, and it just didn't quite survive. But it's not a big deal, because it gave me some inspiration. And what we're doing today is using these two very large, very fluffy ones, to basically remake it. I'm gonna try to reuse some of the blue pieces from the original. I'm not sure if I want to reuse the original black to kind of tie it together. I have a very large, it's very large. I have a window to my left, and that's the window that I'm planning to put this over. There's some other windows in my apartment, I just don't think they're gonna work out quite as well. So since there are two of them, I'm gonna join them at one end and then drape them over the side. And because these flowers, leaves, are much bigger, I got some big flowers, and then I got some smaller things to try and give it some texture. So we'll see how it goes. Also, to try to keep the gold theme, I have some chains and stuff. And for any of my friends watching, this is what's called, I went to Michael's unsupervised. This is what happens. So, but I think it'll turn into a really neat craft. To show something off, because I mentioned it in my first video, and since we're doing flake flowers again, I'm gonna grab something real quick. So this is a piece that I made. I don't know what this camera angle looks like. This is a piece that I made. All of the fake flowers and stuff are something that I worked together. This is likely gonna be out of frame, but I can link to my Instagram where I posted it originally. Can we get it in frame? There we go. But it's a headdress, and I'm quite proud of it. But the reason that this is important is this project is the reason I had fake flowers in my last video, or the very first video, and it's the reason I have floral wire, which is what we're gonna be using to attaching all of this stuff today. So I'm gonna go put this back real quick, and what we're gonna do is start cutting the stems, the long stems off of these things, and we're gonna start putting this together. So you may be wondering why we're sitting at this table again instead of watching a fast forward of me putting together this garland. And that's because it didn't record. Unfortunately, the one time I don't check that it's recording, it wasn't recording. To be fair, I wasn't actually sure how well the footage would come out because a lot of these colors of materials are very similar. And the leaves are so big, I just wasn't sure how much detail would actually come out. So, I do have a finished piece though. I'll talk about a little bit of what my thought process was. So I had 3 of these large blue ones, 4 of these purple ones, and then also 3 of these bulbs. You'll notice I have some of the segments from the original garland, and one segment of this has 2 of the long ones and 1 of the short one, and the other one has 2 of the short ones and 1 of the long one to try to space that out across the garland as much as possible. All of this is currently secured with floral wire. If I do notice that it needs more security, I'll probably use some hot glue. I did not end up using as much of the texture pieces as I thought. I used most of these. I've got just a few ends, because with most fake flowers, you can actually just pull them off of the base. They're not super securely on. But these, the little more pinecone guys, I really liked. But once I put everything else on, it was kind of hard to figure out where to really put them without it feeling odd. So my next step is to hang these up. I'm gonna do them, so I said I was gonna connect them, but they have these rings in the middle. And so what I'm actually gonna do is put a command hook in the middle and just hang the rings off of both of these. You will notice that the command hooks that I'm using for this are not the smallest ones they could be. That's because I don't have smaller ones and they're expensive and I don't want to buy more for just this. So I have some larger ones that I'm just going to use instead. But I'm one in the middle of the window and then one on either side. I love the gold chain wrapped around these. I think it ended up being a super, super nice touch. Oh, but my thought process with these big flowers. So I didn't really measure any of this, but my hope is that I got one of these relatively close to just kind of off center of the window, and then one of them very close to the end, and then another one of the big flowers kind of up there, so they're kind of staggered, and then the purple flowers are just in between those and the buds. I had 4 of those, so I'm not entirely sure how that math ended up working out. And then the blue ones, if I did this correctly, should all be pointing up, like towards the top of the window. If you wanted to make this at home, tips for you. What I would say the best way to secure things is to find an anchor point in between the leaves. So on the base black garland, every leaf, not the leaf segment, but it branches off from an attachment point. And those are the best places to anchor something, because instead of it sliding up and down the shaft, if you go over and under this branch off, you will ensure that that's where that thing is going to stay on your garland. And so that's the rule of thumb that I followed for most of this. So some things got shifted up or down a little bit weirdly, you know, literally just based on where those leaf branch points were. I've had the hot glue gun nearby just in case I needed it, but I didn't. I kind of like the larger leaves on this one in comparison to the smaller one, and I did not end up, I had thought that maybe I would incorporate the smaller one like wrapped around or something. I haven't put it up on the window yet, so that's still to be seen, but I have not done that yet. I don't think I will, but I kind of like the larger leaves. It's a different kind of look. I'm very pleased with the result as it sits on my table. We have yet to see how well this result will transfer once I try to put it up on the wall. But that should be the last little bit of this video. I'll probably put it up, talk a little bit once it's on there. It is also nighttime now because I had to step away and take a break once I realized that I completely didn't get a recording of me making it. It took about an hour and a half, like most of my things seem to take, so it probably would have been about the same length of video of the other one. But again, I'm really not sure how well that footage would have turned out, considering how similar in color a lot of these materials are, and just how much the leaves do cover up some of what's happening. So overall, maybe it was a happy accident. I'm gonna show myself trying to put it up on my wall. And so I'm sorry that this one is very different than my other ones, but maybe that means it's a little bit of a shorter video. I still hope it's some kind of entertaining, even though it's not what I wanted it to be. I have an interesting final product, and if you have any questions about the process, since you didn't get to see it, let me know. Leave a comment down below on thoughts, comments, questions, if there's ways you think this could be improved, you know, as always. But besides that, let's go hang it up. Okay. So unfortunately, this one isn't the best lighting because I have to turn this off in order for it to look any kind of decent. 2, it's not the best angle because I want to show, you know, the top part of this up here. This is the calendar that I'm going to have to move. I had it out here initially, but I think I'm going to move it to in my bedroom somewhere. It's a calendar. This is not a stock photo. That is an actual picture of my parents' dog, my dog. His name is Leo, and I love him. But I'm going to be moving the calendar. The first thing I'm going to do is hang a hook in the center so that I can hang the other ones. And then I'm going to figure out how thick it is and where I want it to drop, and figure out where I want the next hook on the corners to go. So that's the general plan, and let's do it. Unfortunately, I am short, so I require the assistance of a stepladder. As far as my window goes, there's this marker right here, and so that's what I'm going to use as my center point. I realize that that's probably not visible because of the light fixture, but there's something on the bar of my window that pretty much has an identified center that I'm going to use as the center point for this. I'm going to put it up a little higher, I guess, than I think I'm going to want it, because it is rather fluffy, and so I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go, but This is really the most guesswork that I've done. To be completely honest, I'm a little upset after not having gotten the footage of making it, so I'm just trying to make this now what I can with putting it up and everything. So I'm gonna move the step ladder over there. Probably have to move my dress form. Or I can do it on this corner. I don't know. I'm gonna do that corner first. Executive decision. So, do I have to move this? This is fine. All right. Which part of you is the center? You are not the center. I connected the gold chain at the center so that it would hang down because I thought that would probably end up looking the best. I'm already in love with it, so now it's time to get the second set up. Well, you know what? It's not the most even it could possibly be, but I really like it. I like, my other one was mostly black. This one I think is a little bit more color to it. You've got the little pops of purple. It looks a lot more muted, I think, in this current light. That's a little hard to see. Maybe I'll try to get some pictures or things of it with more lights on. But overall, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I think the garland looks beautiful. Even if this video isn't exactly what I wanted, it's a little bit more condensed version, and you can see just more of the final product. So, apologies for this not being the normal or the intended, but I still hope it was somewhat interesting, even if I get a little rambly. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for whatever I make next.